Step into the world of power, loyalty, and luck.
I'm gonna make him an offer he can't refuse.
With family, cannolis, and spins mean everything.
Now, you wanna get mixed up in the family business.
Introducing The Godfather at ChumbaCasino.com. Test your luck in the shadowy world of The Godfather slot.
Someday, I will call upon you to do a service for me.
Play The Godfather now at ChumbaCasino.com.
Welcome to the family.
VGW Group. No purchase necessary. Void where prohibited by law. See terms and conditions. 18+.
Hello, it is Ryan, and I was on a flight the other day playing one of my favorite social spin slot games on ChumbaCasino.com. I looked over at the person sitting next to me, and you know what they were doing? They were also playing Chumba Casino. Coincidence? I think not. Everybody's loving having fun with it. Chumba Casino is home to hundreds of casino-style games that you can play for free anytime, anywhere, even at 30,000 feet. So sign up now at ChumbaCasino.com to claim your free welcome bonus. That's ChumbaCasino.com and live the Chumba life.
No purchase necessary. VGW Group. Void where prohibited by law. See terms and conditions. 18+.
Hey guys, it is Ryan. I'm not sure if you know this about me, but I'm a bit of a fun fanatic when I can. I like to work, but I like fun too. It's a thing. And now the truth is out there. I can tell you about my favorite place to have fun. Chumba Casino. They have hundreds of social casino style games to choose from with new games released each week. You can play for free anytime, anywhere. And each day brings a new chance to collect daily bonuses. So join me in the fun. Sign up now at ChumbaCasino.com.
No purchase necessary. VGW Group. Void where prohibited by law. See terms and conditions. 18+.
You're listening to the RAP podcast, the Welsh Regional Rugby Appreciation Pod, where we try to cover all the important issues on and off the field in Welsh regional and national rugby. If you'd like to get in touch with the show, all of that information is at the end, so you'll just have to bear with us and get to that bit. In the meantime, enjoy this week's show. Hello and welcome to this evening's podcast. Once again, still all four of us here. Joining me, Lee G. I got Reese, Jamie and Carwyn. Good evening, gents.
Good evening. How's it going?
Good evening.
So just so everyone knows, that we might be a little bit down and knackered because we've already just done the bonus podcast with Simon Mudrack. So we've been slogging away. This is hard toil, this is, boys. This is hard toil talking about rugby for this long in one go. But yeah, how are we all? You all jolly good?
Oh, not too bad. I'm in Cyprus.
Yeah.
I was going to say you're in Cyprus. Yeah.
All excited for the week ahead.
Yeah, man. Local beer.
Well, let's start on that one. And you can start us off on drink of the week then, Reese. So what have you nicked from the bar this evening, my friend?
No, well, we went out today to a restaurant in Lamasol, great town, by the way, and I've got a Keo, a local beer, which is quite nice. Comes in a nice big bottle, and yeah,
okay. It's a good choice.
Cool. Okay, so James, what have you got, mate?
Well, I haven't got any funky tiny rebel beers. No, okay. So I'm gonna park that to the side for the next few weeks for the Six Nations. So, well, look, it's Ireland week, isn't it? So we've got to have an Irish drink. I know it's not Guinness either. So I've got Caffrey's.
Love
Caffrey's. Yeah, I've made that for a long time.
It's do you know? I can't remember the last time I had it, but it's really nice, isn't it? I've forgotten how nice it is.
Yeah, it used to be everywhere, didn't it? Caffrey's.
Yeah.
And when I started drinking and going into pubs, like, isn't it? I used to get in. Well, I'll say it now, like, isn't it? It's a bit younger than I should have been, but I was called the Caffrey's Kid by some of the bar staff.
Yeah, many a good night on Caffrey's.
Yeah. Lovely stuff.
Yeah. Carwyn, what have you got? I've seen you've got something in a glass, so you're trying to be posh again.
I am. I've got a red wine tonight by the name of the Dark Horse, as it's International Week and we're playing Ireland. We are the Dark Horses. So that is going down rather nicely, and we'll talk about that later.
It's already at the bottom of the glass.
We tilted his glass. We'll talk about that later.
I'm going to get you
They can't see it now, can they, the listeners? Yeah. But it was the way you tilted your glass. We'll talk about that later. Be smooth.
I'm ready for the week, boys. Ready for the week.
I've gone for a classic. I've saved this. I've got a Brains SA Gold.
Skull Attack.
Yeah. So it used to, in my dim and distant past, when I was living in Cardiff, it does just seem to be what you naturally gravitate towards in Cardiff. So, but we haven't got it on pump anywhere around here. So, yeah, bottles it is. So, right, that's the admin out the way. Where do we want to start with the rugby from last weekend?
Well, let's start in Leinster, where we were all predicting a massive Blues win, shall we?
No, you was.
Oh my God!
Yeah, you were a mile out.
Yeah, from start to finish. Like, do you want me to start there, or I'm quite happy to let you guys take.
Reese looks like he's like, I'm quite happy to sit back and say fuck all for the next 10 minutes and then not talk about Cardiff at all. I think we should make you talk about Cardiff, mate.
Yeah, no, absolutely. That's why I've also got gin and tonic next to me as well from earlier. So it's I'm well prepared to talk about it now. Well, we personally, didn't we, like, had a chat. We looked at the Leinster squad, like, just before and said, like, could it be? And I'm a blind optimist before every Wales match and every Cardiff match sort of thing. I don't think you can be a Cardiff fan without being a little bit of a blind optimist. And it wasn't. It was the manner of the loss that really bothered me. It was the fact that we were outplayed. From start to finish, they sort of rolled over us. We didn't have an answer to anything, and maybe some of the voices from the South Terrace that I speak to saying, how can you keep up any sort of intensity with the contractual stuff going on at the WRU, but the other regions seem to be doing it, and I just thought there was very little sort of get together and grunts, as I talk about in other pods, and just shoot. Like, I felt like pride in the shirts. Like, I mean, I know that's going to come back to haunt me, that statement. But I think it was like 66 minutes before we started any sort of decent fight back, where it looked like we could do them some damage and we were causing them some problems in the pack. And I thought it was. Our front row got shown up. As soon as I saw it on the team sheet, I thought, against Leinster, you cannot field a play, especially when you had players like Corey Domachowski and Christian Dacey on the bench. I thought you've got to start with just for a scrum that's going to at least have a go at holding its own against the beasts of Leinster. I thought the back five looked good. I thought the back row looked really good, before the match, and they played patches well. We started off with a very aggressive defence, which lasted all of, like, I think 10 minutes before the first try was scored, and it just went from bad to worse from there. Players usually that have shown some fine form this season were dropping the ball. There seemed to be no plan, and some of the players looked they couldn't be bothered, and some silly mistakes by players you wouldn't expect it from, like drop balls from Jared Evans. When Matthew Morgan came on, he had an absolute stinker, and I don't think anybody would argue with me about that. And yeah, it was just upsetting. And I was glad for the fight back, so at least we got something, because I really thought they were going to nil us. But there you go. It's going away to Leinster, and it's always going to be a tricky, tough ask for any side to do it. But I still expected a little bit more fight.
Does it feel better to get that off your chest now, mate?
It feels like
when I was a child.
You know what? There were two sizes of this bottle of Keo, and I went for the larger size. For that reason, I knew I had to say something about the game. But,
it's funny though, isn't it? With the predictions last week, and I said Leinster by 20, and we all kind of went, ooh. And then I thought afterwards, it's probably a bit harsh. But then when I saw the teams announced on Friday, And I saw Leinster's team, and they had a very youthful-looking backline, didn't they? They had good forwards. And then I saw Cardiff's team, and I thought, actually, that's a stronger Cardiff team than I thought. And then I was thinking, I definitely, I've gone way overboard in my prediction, 20 points. Turns out there wasn't far off. It was actually 24 points they won by. So it was only 4 points off. But I wasn't expecting that. I got to be honest. I always expected Leinster to win, but I did expect a little bit more from Cardiff, even though they are going to the RDS. It's the toughest place to go in the league. Yeah. But I just thought with the personnel they had a decent team. You still had Tamani, didn't you? You still had Turnbull, you had Ratty, you had both. You had Rayleigh, always late. You had a team who could have done, and probably your team was bad. Don't worry, the Dragons got to go there in 2 weeks, and I'm dreading it. I don't even want to think about that. I don't even want to think about it.
Leinster had a few new players. They had quite a few academy players playing. It just shows the full strength of them. And like I said, I thought I said Cardiff to lose by 30, but I can't remember now. But like I said, when I saw the Cardiff team, like you said, Jane, I thought, actually, do you know what, they could be within a chance here.
Yeah, I just remind you, on the WhatsApp group, you said Cardiff by 4. That was your prediction on the WhatsApp group.
Yeah, that was after the squad announcement, but pre-squad announcement, I'm sure I said 30.
Yeah,
so me, I hope you've amended that.
I think that's the real reason I've come to Cyprus.
Sure. For me though, it felt a little bit like the last game of last season where Cardiff were away in Italy, Benetton, and you got absolutely tanked, and it felt like everybody just given up. And you can almost not forgive that, but you can understand it. Last game of the season, nothing to play for, blah, 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 blah. But this was, if you can't get yourself up to play Leinster a point of the season that, all right, they've chosen a Wales squad, but there's going to be injuries. There's going to be injuries in that Wales squad, and they're going to be looking at who's on form. And if you cannot get yourself up to play against Leinster at this time of year, when you've got, opportunities to show what you can do. I mean, we spoke about it at the start of the season about how Cardiff will have a few good ones and then, spin it all round and just fuck it all up and what have you. And then they'll have another decent couple of games and everyone will go, oh yeah, see, they're a half decent team. I just could not understand. You could see it. In particularly at scrum time, it was like it was scrum practice. It was like it was Leinster scrum practice, and it was like Cardiff were told, right, just kind of hold it there and let's see what they can do. Do you know what I mean? It never felt like they were really competing.
I feel we've had a few than just a few good ones, but I'll go over that. But I mean, this time last year,
what made me laugh?
Say again.
Yeah. Sorry, I was interrupting. Go on.
This time last year, we beat Leinster at home on the last kick of the game, isn't it? That and it was a couple of games after that we carried on well, and it was towards the end of the season then where we'd start off games well because we do play some good rugby, and then just sort of capitulate. So it's just that consistency for the whole season, isn't it? So some of those players were the players that have pulled off some, and I'm not going to mention it, you're all right, boys, some great victories this year, isn't it? We have got our own injury worries. We've got a couple of players. I didn't say that. We got Harris on the wing. He's been playing quite well, but he is third choice. I'm not using this as an excuse and stuff like that, but we have got our issues around injury. But it's just putting a game plan and executing a game plan and executing it with a bit of heart on your sleeve as well, isn't it? And I think was a massive issue over the weekend. And I hope I don't know where to go from here, isn't it? But I'm hoping, and Cardiff could be that side, isn't it? And it has been before, where next time we play, we put on a show, so.
Well, don't worry, mate, because you're playing the Sharks soon, which made me laugh today because obviously you took a tonkin on the weekend, and the first advert I've seen regarding Cardiff rugby is all the players on the advert smiling. Cardiff versus Sharks on the 1st of April, and it just sort of cracked me up. But But yeah, one of
That'll
those
be a different game. Might not mention him so often after that.
The thing for me is Jared Evans is obviously in the middle of contract negotiations at the minute, and
he's wobbly.
Well, yeah, his agent has had a quick word with Wales Online and said, look, he's had a couple of offers from here, there, and everywhere, and then you get this big thing all Friday and Saturday about how amazing he is, and for most of that game, he had a shocker. You know, just dropping, like you say, just dropping little simple passes that you just look at and you go, like with him on the pitch, you're always kind of expecting something. You're expecting the unexpected. You're expecting him to find a gap to go through, to put a little dink over. And even with him, there was nothing. And like you said, Matthew Morgan, just, I think that's, you know, genuinely, that's the last you might see of Matthew Morgan in a Cardiff shirt. Genuinely,
I wouldn't be surprised. It was all the basics, wasn't it? Like that, like catching the ball, the high ball, and just taking the ball to the line, and he can do either thing.
But he's another one of those players that's really creative, seems to find gaps, seems to go through places that are just not there, and he just couldn't tie his own shoelaces on.
And that's how Jared has changed as a player. Usually, but that was a bad game, but the things he's tightened up in his game has been that, isn't it? That's why he's like, jumps like the likes of Matthew Morgan, isn't it? Because his kicking has improved, his kick from hand to the posts. We've seen this happen on rugby, when we think he's a better sort of he's become a better manager of a game over time. I think, and that's why we've pulled off some of the victories we've had this season. But that none of that was on show over the weekend.
Do any of you remember when there was a time when people were calling for Matthew Morgan to be Wales's 10, like people like Shane Williams? And I look back now, I think, fucking hell, that was mental, wasn't it? Knowing what we know now, fucking hell, like, can you imagine?
But he was playing fantastic then.
Yeah,
he was fantastic back then.
And he'd probably be a better 10 than he would be a fullback. I'd rather have him at 10 where his size isn't that much of an issue. Whereas at fullback, when somebody sticks a ball up in the air, you're always kind of,
He's very much like Jordan Williams, so we got the same. Jordan Williams is our Matthew Morgan. He's small, he's quick, he's got good feet, but defence is awful, can be a liability. It's the same sort of player, isn't it? Yeah.
But a genius when they're going for when it's going right for them. It's an absolute pleasure to watch, isn't it? Apart from Jordan Williams' hair, which questionable at best.
No.
But
Lewis Jones, they're all dying here. I don't know what's going on down here at the moment.
Lewis Jones, another great.
That's
a great segue to move away from Cardiff to the Dragons now.
Let's move on to the Dragons.
Thanks for that, Reece. Appreciate the link.
Check the hot potato your way, man.
Go on then, James. So what did you make of?
I don't want to talk about this.
Go on, we'll make it a short one, mate. Go on. What did you think of the Dragons game on the weekend?
Well, look, all the talk before the game coming out the Dragons camp was we need to stop giving the opposition easy ins, we need to stop giving the opposition, a head start, 20 points, etc. So what did the Dragons do? They gave them a 14-point start in 6 minutes. Lessons are not being learned, are they? And Di Flanagan summed it up perfectly well after the game when he said, we're our own worst enemies. I think the first thing to say is from Glasgow, they had 6 internationals coming in from Scotland camp. So straight away, they had an advantage right before kick-off. They had the likes of Fraser Brown and all them lot who actually had man of match who's pretty good in fairness to him. He's thinking about this, thinking would it have hurt Wales to give us Aaron Wainwright? I mean, he's down the pecking order, isn't he? Would it have really hurt? I mean, I know Wales, all the regions are in the same position, but I did wonder, would it have really mattered if we'd had Wainwright? And the same with Leon Brown. He's only had 35 minutes. He's training Wales camp. Could we have had him just on the bench coming off for a cameo, get some more minutes under his belt? We're led to believe he's going to be on the bench against Ireland. But, so straight away, Glasgow had the advantage. And the fact of the matter is they were too powerful for us. We really are struggling against these big, powerful teams. And we were second best in every department, pretty much. Poor up front. We just look soft at the moment. We just look so lightweight. We're not winning collisions. We're not getting over the game line, and our attack was terrible. We just seem to be going from side to side, coast to coast. No one's really making the hard yards up forward. We did well to keep in the game. I mean, we were never going to win it, and we were well beaten in fairness, but we did well to get a bonus point out of it. Actually, all things considered. But it wasn't a good afternoon. It was pretty one-sided. It was very comfortable for Glasgow. There was 4,500 down there at Rodney Parade, but I got to say, I thought the atmosphere was really flat. It's a shame, really, because it was a Saturday 3 p.m. kickoff, which is one of my favourite kickoff times. I think it's a great time to kick off, but I just thought it was all very flat, and it's not surprising, really, is it? Because what did the crowd have to cheer? It was all so one-sided. We didn't have much to cheer. But it's I used to say I don't know where we go from here. I honestly don't know where the Dragons go from here, because you look at their remaining fixtures. They got to go to Dublin in a couple of weeks. I mean, that don't be thinking about. That could be easy 50, 60 pointer. We got Connacht at home. Connacht are a good side. We got to go to the Ospreys. We got to go to Glasgow in Europe. Then we got to go away to Belfast, Ulster, and then we got Scarlets. I'm going to call it now. I don't see us winning any of those games. And that's not me being negative. I can't see where the next win is coming from. And we're 15th in the table. And for all the improvements that we've talked about with the Dragons, under Di Flanagan, the fact of the matter is we're still the second worst team in the URC, as we were last season under Dean Ryan. So the stats don't lie. Just very, very disappointed. And, the Dragons have got to wise up. They got to muscle up before they go to Dublin. Di Flanagan has talked about upping the intensity in training and stressing players. And then reading this, thinking, well, you should be doing that anyway. I don't understand why he's making a deal of it. You should be doing that now. But, just very, very disappointing. That's what I got to say about it, really. I don't know what else to say. We were well beaten, and we were second best in every department. I mean, what else is there to take from that game,
You watch to pull off the win of the season next week and the big Leinster.
I was going to say, Jamie's career as a motivational speaker has gone downhill, because you sound really fucked off at the minute, mate, with all of that.
No, I'm just being honest. I got to say what I see. And if we're playing well, I'll say so. But if we're not, then I can't. I can't be positive. I know there are some Dragons fans who are always positive and they're always, optimistic. But I've always been honestly, although I can't say too much, man, because I got Simon Cross, who's the Dragons defence coach, who's just followed me on Twitter. And I was going to say about how shit our defence was. Can you imagine me putting out the tweet saying, who the fuck is leading our defence? And I said, he's actually following me, so I got to be careful now. I don't like people from the Dragons following me, but
can't say what you like there, didn't it? But it very much both that sides got rolled over in the pack, didn't it? Like I was watching the highlights in the Dragons game sort of thing, the rolling ball from Glasgow, like goes loads of damage to us.
And it's the same old story, when you don't have your best players, you've got injuries and call-ups. Our front five is just so weak. It's so powder puff. And I've said this many times before. We got no go forward. We got no intensity, no grunt up front. And against good teams like Glasgow, you're just going to get found out and overpowered, So, that's where we are, I'm afraid. Can we move on now? Talk about someone else?
Yeah.
I don't want to talk about Dragons.
The West Walians smiling. Isn't it awful to see the West Walians smiling?
Trust me, it's been long enough coming for us. Go on, Carl. You go first. You talk about how you absolutely hammered and destroyed the worst team in the league by 4 points with what?
Dripping with sarcasm.
Well, I tell you what. Considering we were missing 14 players to the Wales team, I think we did all right. It's gone abroad there to Zebra to play rugby, and they have had some very close games with these losses they've had. And we got off to a flyer, which was great, a nice rugby to watch. But they were always going to come back into it. And with the young team that we had, it was going to get difficult in the middle of the game. But when Stephen Myler came on, he steered the ship and got us over the line. To come away with a bonus point with the young team, I think it's really character building for him moving forward to the season. I think the old Ospreys are really building a tidy squad. I thought they did really well. especially the front row. We're missing a few boys there to the Wales team. The second row, the back row. We had young players coming on, and they did us really proud. I was so pleased. Because at one stage I was watching that game going, please don't lose. After the road, the run we've been on, it could have been that banana skin, but fair play, they were all over it.
Didn't they have 26 players missing, I read, the Ospreys, with injuries and
through injury
as
well. Yeah.
So it makes it even more impressive. It's not easy to go to Zebra. I know they're bottom of the table, it's got to win, but that game was a banana skin for the Ospreys. It was a big banana skin. And to be fair, I thought Zebra were actually going to turn them over at one point. But when Morgan Moore scored that try, they kind of pulled away, didn't they?
It was awesome. I was so pleased.
It was a good win.
I thought certainly after the first kind of 10 minutes, Ospreys actually looked. I've said consistently through the year about Ospreys just not being able to attack through the backs, and that's absolutely what they did. They were running riot through the backs, and Zebra didn't have an answer for it, and then they just seemed to switch off. And Zebra's second try, I think it was an absolute thing of beauty. It really was a cracking try. And like we said last week, Leinster have been given a shock there. Quite a few people have been given a shock. And Zebra are pretty much in the same place as the Dragons, where, they play pretty good rugby every now and again, but not enough to win the game, sort of a thing. So, I was out walking the dog for most of the second half, and I was checking it on my phone, and then you could see Zebra just climbing in front, and I go, this is going to be good, we're going to enjoy the rest of this walk. And then obviously they
rest
didn't.
Of this walk. but I think the passing with backs and forwards for some of the Zebra tries was top draw. It was really skillful stuff, well worked.
They were good, weren't they?
I
thought it was a good game to watch. I really enjoyed the game itself. I thought Zebra played quite well, and they were unlucky, not to win.
Do you know what turned the game, though? Do you know who turned the game for the Ospreys? It was Stephen Myler, because he came on after 55 minutes. Ospreys were 24-14 down, and he controlled the game. And we spoke about Chatwell so many times on this pod. Talented kid, but he can't control the game the same way that Myler and Owen Williams can. And he made a huge difference, Stephen Myler. He showed all his experience, and I thought he did very, very well.
Well, we were 14 points up, and then all of a sudden, 24 unanswered points. So yes, we did well to come back from that, and thankfully it was down to Stephen Myler, I believe, who sort of G'd the boys along with. But again, Zebra were also unlucky, I thought.
Who was your open side? I missed his name. Sorry,
Harry Deves.
Yeah.
Good player.
He played Wales under 20s last year. He was Wales under 20s last year, and he had some cracking performances with Wales under 20s last year. And,
another back row.
Another open side. Sam Warburton's got a lot to answer for, because everybody wants to be open. It's but I agree with you on the thing with Walsh is he going to become, like we were talking with Jordan Williams and Matthew Morgan, brilliant players that just make too many mistakes. I know he's, don't want to put any pressure on the kid because he is still a kid, but you hope that he doesn't go through what they've gone through of being a genius, but also with a couple of flaws. At some point, somebody's got to get hold of him and go, right, okay, this is what we mean by controlling the game. All well and good about doing the pretty stuff, but every now and again, you've got to calm yourself down and you've got to, do this sort of thing. I hope somebody gets hold of him and somebody like Stephen Myler, and goes, this is what we mean. Yeah, that's what you'd hope he'd be there to do, isn't it?
But you are right, though, Lee, what you're saying about Zebra and Dragons. They are similar teams because, we can play really nice rugby. Just like Zebra, and you're right, they scored a couple of beautiful tries. And, let's not forget the early part of the season, they run the Sharks close to me and they gave Leinster a good game. But they just lacked that winning mentality, didn't they? And that's why we and Zebra are the bottom two teams in the competition. You know, we play nice stuff, but we just haven't got that grit and that winning mentality to get over the line. You know,
and that's something that's
You
hard.
talk about young.
Go on, mate.
So yeah, you talk about young Jack Walsh there. You know, he went for a big kick to touch, and it was a huge kick, in fairness. But I thought the Zebra player was very skillful in keeping it in touch. You know, he managed to get 2 feet back in there, and that the chip overhead. All right, I don't think it was great at all. But you know, he's going for things. You know, if they come off, no one's going to be no one's going to be giving the boy groups. And wow, what a great piece of play. You know, rather than going, he needs to learn to control the game. So it is 50-50, and these things will come in time. You know, he's a young lad, and there is room for improvement.
Yeah. But kids will make mistakes, won't they? It's like Brodie Coggan, who was his first start for the Dragons, and he did something very, very dumb. You know, he took Ali Price off the ball. I think it was Ali Price. Took him off the ball, and he got a yellow card. I mean, he was just dull. But he's a kid, and he's enthusiastic, and he's talented, but you know that they are going to make mistakes, and you just got to persevere with it, don't you?
But you've got to have somebody with him to mentor in and to help. To just say, you know, he's a kid, he'll improve. That's not right. It doesn't work unless you've got somebody with you going, you know, let's sit down and have a proper look at this. Yeah, you can do a video review, and I've seen them done myself, where somebody look at, you know, you do 4 brilliant things in the game. I go, right, let's have a look at these 4 really, really good things. Hey, yeah, well done. Yeah, good game, crack on. And actually, you've made 6 mistakes that you're just not aware of, you know, and you're just not aware that you were just
glossing over the cracks.
Yeah, so it is hard. It is hard, and Costello went through it, because Costello came to us and was like, you know, this is the golden kid, and it's taken him probably 2 seasons longer than we expected to get to the bit where we go, you know, that's why he came to us. But you know, he's had a lot of people around him to.
I see what you're doing there. I see what you're doing.
What now?
You're moving on to the Scarlets now.
No, I'm telling you about how we recruited. We recruited a really young, talented outside half that took longer than we expected to make him into.
That's the issue now, isn't it? With what we were talking about earlier about out of necessity, just bringing through loads and loads of youth and what have you, and developing youth is having those old heads to receive these young players coming through, and I'd be like a Myler or or whoever else to give you that sort of guidance and that sort of mentorship.
You got to get a balance. You got to have a balance. You can't just have a team of kids, because that's what Jackman did in his first year at the Dragons. Look, he got rid of the likes of Landman and Pretorius. He shifted them all up to one side, Phil Price, and he just played a load of kids, which on the one hand, fine. You know, they did do some good developing. You know, he did bring through the likes of Tane Bashan and, you know, Al Wainwright, etc. But the Dragons were getting absolutely battered week in, week out, and I mean proper battered. You know, so you've got to have the experience of non-Welsh qualified players and your experienced squad players. You know, your Josh Turnbulls and your Keddies and all that. You've got to get a balance right. You can't just have a team of kids.
Proper squad player.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. So do you want to move
talking
on
of
to
a near full I was going to say, talking of a near full strength team this week. You talk about the Scarlets, you know, they're missing
You're
2
still
players.
bitter, aren't you?
Go on, Carwyn, say they did well. Go on.
Go on. I had to sit on a podcast, right? I had to sit on a
Considering they were
podcast.
missing a couple of guys, you know, they did all right.
I had to sit on a podcast, an Irish podcast, and big up the fucking Ospreys for about 20 minutes. And
I enjoyed that.
Pissing himself.
I really enjoyed that.
I even enjoyed it as well. It was good. It was really good.
I was sitting and going, I am never going to live this one down.
Well, that's 2 podcasts in a row, isn't it? Because you predicted that Australians win.
Oh, shut up now.
And then when I'm harping on rugby and said nice things about that, I felt it was...
Don't say it was personal development. It was regression is what it was. So anyway...
it was a wannabe.
Friday night at the park was just absolutely awesome. It was, you know, nobody gave us a hope in hell, because they're third in the league and they're big boys and they're vicious and they weren't affected by the Six Nations and they just come off a loss and they were pissed off. And we didn't care. We just kind of went at them. we were offloading. We were probably offloading a bit too much. They weren't getting anything out of our forwards. They were being hit back in tackles. They were making silly mistakes, silly rattled mistakes. What their scrum half was doing with that penalty 2 minutes before half time, and it didn't get caught on camera, but he just like taps the ball to himself and stands it in his own 22. And you're like, you know, they were really
rattled, weren't they? Early on as well. Yeah.
And it's it was really nice. The first half was really, really nice to watch. The second half, where they just kept, and that was more of the kind of game that I was expecting, with us kind of living off scraps and having to make something of scraps. But even in that second half, you know, you look back to where the Scarlets were at the start of the season, and you go, you know, would we be defending on our own line? There was one bit where there was a penalty against us. We were on our own line, and we held them out for like 6 or 7 phases. Yeah. Now, start of the season, that just wasn't happening. We might defend one. You'd be lucky if we defended 2. By the third phase, it was a walkthrough. And that was a kind of the worrying bit where, you know, their first try where their scrum half just walks through a gap. And we're like, shit, you know, this is the start of they're just going to steamroll from here. So to put things right and to come back and put in a defensive performance like that was just, it was a joy. And we're an attacking team. You know, Scarlets have always been an attacking team. We've based everything we've done on let's attack and let's defend okay, but let's really, really attack. So to put in that kind of defensive performance was just superb.
It was gritty, wasn't it? Really gritty effort. Because you were under the cosh in the second half, you know.
Yeah, for 35 minutes.
Big time.
We were getting back. And I've got to be fair, you know, Aaron Shingler, you know, we on my Scarlets pod, we were talking about, you know, who do we really have now as captain? You know, who steps in? You've got the normal suspects. Ken has gone. Jonathan Davis is out injured for a couple of weeks. Scott Williams is finished his season with a hamstring pull. You know, they're our 3 kind of go-to players for leadership and captaincy. And we were kind of like, well, you know, do you give it to Dane Blackett? Do you give it to Costello? Do you give it to one of the kids to, you know, really make something of them? And then when it was Shingler, it was a bit like, you know, okay, he's been around the block. He knows what he's doing. You know, never really thought of him as a captain before. He was absolutely outstanding. Absolutely.
He led from the front, didn't he?
Yeah, and he was offloading and he was fiery and he was in people's faces. And then you have like Dan Davis, and then, you know, Joe Roberts didn't have his best game in attack, but he put in 3 turnovers on a tackle that kind of, you know, one of them led to a try, to the Gareth Davis try, and one of them stopped the definite Bulls try, you know. So it was really nice to just see so many people just stepping up, and then to finish with that Johnny McNichol try, and then probably another try after that, you know, that we should have scored any other day of the week. We score that try. But
that would have been a lovely try, by the way. The pass gone to hand. Really nice.
Just kind of one of those things where you're off your seat and all of that. So yeah, it's starting to feel like days of old at the park again, and it's nice because people are smiling again, and that's the difference. It was a hard start to the season. Things weren't going right, and faces were not happy. And people are smiling again, so it's just nice.
Yeah. It looked like it was a decent crowd as well from a TV point of view. That just looked like a good crowd. Then they were all singing as well, you know. It was good to hear and good to see.
Well, I haven't seen what the crowd figure was, but yeah, I'll be honest. I missed a large chunk of the second half. I listened to it on the radio because I'm going to pick my daughter up from drama.
Wow.
So, for a week before I missed the Friday
Call
night game.
yourself a Scarlets fan.
I'll be honest. I was in the doghouse. I'm not sure what for, but I was in the doghouse or something. So I'll go get it. And I was listening to it on the radio, and so I'm going down a really long straight road when Johnny McNichol scored that last try. And so if anybody was coming the other way, I'm like, up like this. And it was a bit like, I got to this car park.
I do think go on, could finish this story.
Well, I got to the car park and we were just like about to score that second one. We were running through the hands on the second one. And there was a guy in the car, like about 2 cars down, that was obviously still listening as well. And we're both like, oh. And I could look across, I could see him doing exactly the same thing. So, it was good fun.
I was just about to say, I thought the key men for you guys were your 3 Tongans, Sam Lousy, Calafamoni and Fifita. I thought they were outstanding. And I thought it was going to be Sam Lousy who was going to get the man of the match, but they gave it to Calafamoni, which fair enough. But I thought Sam Lousy was absolutely fantastic. He put in a massive defensive shift. But for the sake of balance now, right, can I just say, and I'm not trying to rain on your parade, Lee, but I will try to be balanced, as you know. We've got to acknowledge it. The Bills were bloody awful in our first half, weren't they? They were absolutely awful. I mean, their passing was poor, their handling was poor. Yeah, they scored that early try, but I couldn't believe how bad they were. They were shocking.
I was going to say, the Bulls, you know what you're going to get with the Bulls, don't you? Like, isn't it? You know what's going to come at you with that massive pack. They got some decent backs, but they can be rattled, innit? The Dragons rattled them. Other sides have rattled them. And once they
no, we didn't rattle the Bulls. That was the Sharks. We got absolutely stuffed by the Bulls. We didn't rattle them. Sharks we did, not Bulls.
Oh, Sharks. Sorry.
Yeah. We were crushed.
Sorry, my bad.
We didn't rattle them.
Yeah.
Reese has got a story about the Sharks.
It's only until the next fixture.
Did you see that one pass, right? They were in their 22. The guy threw it. It went just behind their goal line. Gav Davis nearly scored and sat with his ass. He nearly scored with his ass.
Yeah.
I'm like, what the fuck was that pass? What were they doing? Honestly, they're terrible. Terrible
first half. 5 minutes worth of TMO replay with a TMA going,
I know.
I haven't got a clue. And the referee going, well, neither have I. What do you give on that? It was whether it was a knock on or not. But I'll be honest with you. Whether or not it was the Bulls were bad or we had them rattled or a combination of the two, I couldn't give a shit. I couldn't.
No, fair enough. It probably is a combination of the two. You've got to give Scards credit. It was a brilliant result because, there was a lot of players missing for the Scards with injuries and call-ups as well. So it was a brilliant... I'm not trying to, like I said, rain on your parade, but it's got to be nice.
The expectation of the Bulls would have been that they were going to dominate the breakdown and they were going to do their usual steamrolling over players. And that didn't happen, isn't it? Because of some of the players you mentioned there, Jamie, isn't it, the Islanders? And is it that Dan Davis, isn't it?
Yeah, Dan Davis.
Yeah. Oh, he was brilliant first half.
Over the ball. He was aggressive. Brilliant. He was taking the ball forwards. He was fantastic.
Yet again, I mean, I'm seeing a lot of stuff now about the South African teams, hearing about the air miles they're doing and how tired they are. They're travelling all over Europe. And that. Now, I'm sorry. On the one hand, yes, I do have sympathy because they are doing ridiculous air miles and travelling. I appreciate that. But on the other hand, you lot signed up for this.
Yep.
You signed up to be in this competition. You knew full well. And the same with the Champions Cup. They signed up for it.
They were doing air miles going to New Zealand. They were doing air miles going to New Zealand. So why is this any different?
And Australia, yeah.
I think they are doing a fair lot of travelling, mate. They're doing buses and
bless them.
I've read the stuff they're saying, and it is going to have an impact. But at the end of the day, they signed up for it. I'm sorry,
absolutely.
You get what you signed up for.
Yeah.
So I'm happy at the end of the week, and it's been a while since we've had that.
Well, will we all be happy at the end of this week?
That's what I was going to say. Let's move on to the Wales game. So before we look at... So we will put out our combined kind of team, if you like. So I'm just going to flick through my... spreadsheet because I'm organised, to look at who we've agreed on for our Welsh team, right? So so far, yeah, and this can change because some people just do. Right, let's have a look. So Ken Owens, Tom Francis, Adam Beard, Jack Morgan, Falatau, Bigger, George North, Josh Adams. They're the ones we all agree on, which, to be honest, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 players we agree on.
Wow.
I think that's not going.
That's a first for this season, boys. So I'm going to wind.
Who don't we agree on?
I'm going to wind Jamie up now. So number
As
one,
always.
prop number one. Who is number one shirt? Is that tight or loose?
Oh my God. No, listen. I'm not being funny, mate. You need to get a grip. You need to get a grip, and you need to understand the difference between a loose head and a tight head. Because I'm fed up having this conversation with you.
You're not a second row.
Oh, every time we start talking about
Wikipedia
props,
is the way ahead.
and I'll go. Now remind me, Jamie, which one? And
it's embarrassing. Are you doing it on purpose? Are you doing it on purpose? I thought you was being dull. I don't know. I think you need to tell me.
So anyway, the reason I asked because I was the only one that put Rhys Carey at 3.
Shut up, the baby.
Sorry, go on.
Yeah, everybody else went for Gareth Thomas. I went for Rhys Carey. So that was the only bit that we really disagreed in the front row. But I think either of those two would be fine. And then same in the second row. We all agreed on Adam Beard. And then you guys all went for Rhys Davis, and I just went David Jenkins. I just think he's been really good for Exeter of late, and a bit of a leader. And that's why I picked him. So we'll go with the majority then, and we'll say Gareth Thomas, tight head. Said
that number one, loose.
Yeah, number one, Lou said.
Yeah.
Rhys Davis at 4 or 5, sorry, with Adam Beard at 4. So, Carl, when you put Jack Morgan at open side, we all put him at blind side. And you put Shinza at blind side.
Yeah.
Which
just thinks he gives a bit extra around the field as well, especially if you have Tipperick coming on in the second half. I think it's just going to... I think we've got a great bench if we utilise it that way. Shinza's he's a great line option. He's powerful around the field. He's dynamic. He's athletic.
And he can cover
when he came,
as well. So.
Yeah, absolutely. So I think it is quite a decent option to have there. But like you said, we'll go with the majority and see what Sir Warren comes up with tomorrow.
Well, I think the thing with Shinza is he can play anywhere in the back 5. He can play open side, he can play blind side, he can play number 8, and he can play both second row. So I wouldn't be surprised to see him have a crack at prop. To be honest, he's that kind of player, isn't he? I think he's got a massive future. I think his problem's going to be that there are so many other good players in those positions. Like Jack Morgan can play 6 or 7. Tommy Raffel could probably play 6 or 7. He's going to have to say, right, this is where I'm playing. This is my position, sort of a thing, and that's where I'm going to be. Do you know what I mean? He's almost too easy to move around. It's too easy to. He'll always be the guy that can cover. So we'll go with Jack Morgan at 6. So 7 open side. So we got Tipperick, Morgan, and Reffel. So again, whoever we put there will do the job.
Mm-hmm.
And you could put Shinza there as well, and he'd do the job.
It's hard, isn't it? I wouldn't like to have the coach's final decision because just by doing it through ourselves, it's tricky trying to find that right blend or combination, isn't it?
And I think a lot of it comes back to what we were talking about last week with the type of game that he's going to play. And
yeah.
I say he's picked for me, he's picked a kick chase squad. And when you pick a kick chase squad, that's why I put Tommy Reffel in there, because he's that kind of aggressive kind of a player, where Tipperick is probably more suited to a more expansive game, and Jack Morgan is similar to Reffel. So, but we got two for Tipperick, so are we going to put Tipperick at 7?
Yeah, I'd say he's good in the wide channels, isn't he? But he's got a bit of pace to him as well, so he can play that sort of kick chase game.
Yeah. He's got the whole game. He's got the whole package.
So then we've got Faletau at 8. That's sorted. And then we've got 3 for Thomas Williams. And then Carwyn must have been pissed because he chose Reece Webb.
Well, purely because I think he's got a better kicking game, and he's sharper around the scrum than Thomas Williams.
Like I say, Carwyn was pissed. And yeah, I just
there's no one-eyed osprey of the skin on here either. By the way.
I just don't like. I don't. When you watch Webb's pass, it's this whole bloody stand up, take a step, and pass. And actually, when you look at his pass is inaccurate. He's a fucking scrum half, And at least when Thomas Williams is passing the ball, it's pretty accurate, And that's my bit with him.
But the thing with Thomas Williams, he has to look 5 or 6 times, which way he has to pass the ball.
That's Webb's problem. He doesn't look, and he runs. Webb's got the highest amount of turnovers given in the whole of the URC, mate.
Did you see, guys? So talking about the kicking game and stuff like that, did you see the Squidge Rugby?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Did you see the video he did on why Pivac sort of lost his job, sort of thing, and he went into about half hour worth, wasn't it? And he said one of the stunts of that game on statistics is the kicking game, which we sort of went away from with Pivac, and sort of and that's how we found ourselves so isolated. Yeah. And a return to that might be helpful to increment the game we can play and the players we've got. What do you think about that?
But I still think Webb's, even with his kick, isn't that accurate. But anyway, you were outvoted 3-1 with Thomas Williams. So
no arguments.
We all agreed on Dan Bigger. But it's weird because now he's in France. I haven't seen much of him play. And I've got more access to watching him play now than I ever did when he was in the Premiership. But
you know what you're going to get, though,
yeah. And is he going to get...
Well, he was looking very relaxed today when I saw him. I thought, he's ready for the big game on Saturday. All very chilled out. They all were.
But I think he's in the same position as Ken Owens, isn't he? It's like, this is my last trot now before the World Cup. I'm going to retire after the World Cup. So just kind of enjoy what's here. Do you know what I mean? And that does make you quite relaxed. But
it's got to be bigger at 10, isn't it? It just has to be. I think that selection picks itself, doesn't it? As far as I'm concerned, it's got to be cut down.
No brainer.
Yeah.
I mean, who were the other options? Owen Williams and Reece Patchell. Well, Patchell's not exactly number one at the Scarlets. Don't get me wrong, when he's there, he's lovely and he can hoop for.
He's been in good form, though. He has been in good form, in fairness.
Yes, but for like 2 or 3 games. And then Owen Williams has done all right, but he's
very steady, just very steady head.
What he'll do though, he'll bring you control of the game, won't he, Owen Williams?
Yes.
That's instantly what he's done for the Ospreys, and he can play 10, 12. He can,
he's versatile.
Isn't it?
Yeah. You can have him on the bench, and he'll be a fly half cover, but also he can cover the centre. So that's why I think he'll be in the 23 this weekend. Yeah. I may be wrong, but that'd be my guess.
But like Warren Gatland said, he's picked him purely as a 10.
Yeah, but you could cover centre if needed, so he does offer that option, doesn't he? Yeah.
But in that case, he's picked Louis Rees-Zammit as purely as a 15.
Is he still injured?
Yeah, he's still injured at the minute.
Yeah, it's not available yet.
He was selected as a fullback, but you wouldn't say, we're short on the wing, but I've selected you as a fullback, so you're going to...
No.
You know what I mean? So, anyway, so then wingers, so we all agreed on Josh Adams, as winger. So if we look at the two wingers together, we pretty much all agreed on Josh Adams and Rio Dyer, with the exception of you, Jamie. You put Cuthbert in there, and just because he's a Gatland favourite, isn't he?
Yeah, that's the only reason. Look, I'd love to pick Rio in there. Of course, if it was up to me, I would. But I just got a feeling that Gatland would go for Cuthbert for his experience and his physicality. And I actually think Rio would be quite good coming off the bench when the defences are tired, just to add a bit of zip, a bit of pace. But I do think he'll go for Cuthbert.
So, but again, you're outvoted. So we got Josh Adams on one wing, and we got Rio Dyer. But like you say, Rio Dyer only needs half a gap, doesn't he? And sometimes at internationals, you're only going to get that half a gap. And if he does get it, if there was a half gap to be run through, I'd rather it was Rio Dyer than Alex Cuthbert run through.
I hope he does start. I really hope he does start. But I'm just trying to think of what Gatland will go for, and I just got a feeling for Ireland he'll go for the experience of Cuthbert. And Cuthbert is in decent form, actually. You look at his defensive effort against Leicester; he was pretty impressive defensively, and he's not really known for his defence, is he, Cuthbert?
No, it's the first time in a long time.
Yeah, I was very impressed with him. Got to be fair.
So centres, then we've all agreed on George North. And I think that's probably more because of a lack of quality there, a lack of depth at 13. I'm still not convinced with George North at 13, but I can't see anybody else to put there.
Like that, then,
Yeah, I think he will. But I really wanted to put Mason Grady outside centre, and Kieran Williams inside centre, because I think between the two of them, they could make a cracking centre partnership.
Well, Mason
that's too
inexperienced,
though, isn't it?
Yeah,
that's the problem. Yeah.
For a game of this magnitude, you couldn't put two inexperienced centres in like that. Not against Ireland first up. I mean, maybe against Italy, but I mean, even against Italy, But no, I don't think that would work, to be honest. Well, it would in the future.
I think Brady's best on the bench, isn't he?
Yeah.
I think coming on, because he can play. He's got the pace to be a winger, and he can cover the centres if need be.
Yeah,
he's a big old lump, isn't he?
He's a unit, 6'5".
Yeah. You imagine him coming onto the pitch and you go, he's going into second row. And you're like, no, he's lining up in the back.
But it is going to be interesting, to see how much game time these youngsters get. People like Teddy Williams, Grady now, because I don't see him featuring much at all in his Six Nations. They may just be, holding tackle bags and Gatland just having a look at them in camp. You may just want to keep an eye on them, see how they train. I don't see Teddy Williams or Grady getting much game time.
Teddy Williams to the future when he starts to bulk up. He's quality, absolute quality.
And for some of them, like Shunza went through it last year, it's just about feeling comfortable around being in camp. Do you know what I mean? And just you bring them in early, so actually when they are ready, there's it sounds stupid, but the admin side of it isn't an issue. Like doing your photos, getting your kit, who you're rooming with, all the stuff that can kind of throw you if you're not comfortable with it. You get that stuff kind of sorted when you're an attached player or you're a bag holder or whatever. So when you are on form, so let's say Teddy Williams comes into form next season, he's kind of, he can go back into camp and be comfortable and ready to go, sort of a thing. So I think that's a lot of the thinking behind people like him coming into the squad. But so inside centre, again, three of us picked Nick Tompkins, and this is why Carwin was pissed. He's gone with Kieran Williams. So
I tell you what.
Talk about him.
I think he'll pick Kieran Williams there. Because I tell you what, that boy's like a battering ram, and he's going to be hard to stop.
He is
and I think he's going to give us yards.
He's a Gatland player,
he's a Gatland style player, yeah.
Absolutely.
But then,
and he's got good hands on him as well.
But you compare him to Jamie Roberts, who was 6'4" and 18 stone, and that's why Jamie Roberts was the battering ram, because he was that. Jamie Roberts wasn't particularly fast, but he was fast over 15 meters and would make you 5 meters every time.
Kieran Williams got that low centre of gravity, though, like that sort of Gibbs element, as opposed to Jamie Roberts.
But if you've got people coming in off him, like say if it is Cuthbert or Adams, they're big lads as well. Like, and they're coming at the pace with George as well. That's three big lads coming off the side, left and right of him. Does it make a difference if he's 6'4" or 5'8"? I don't think it does.
Well, who's he going to be running at?
I think
who's
everyone.
playing?
It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter who's in front of him.
Who's the Irish centres at the minute? So Sexton's back at 10, isn't he?
Ringrose and Henderson.
Ringrose is quality.
Or
he's an excellent player.
Oh my days! Do you see Bundy, that pass in the European Cup against Racing? Was it Racing?
Yeah. Oh, he was excellent. Yeah. He was excellent.
The kick chase, and then he just picked it off the floor and just gave it to the. Oh my god!
That was a cracking try. But anyway, enough about the Irish.
No, it's like you know, who's he going to be up against? And sometimes you do got to, you know, the Irish boys are big, hefty boys, but
but his tackling is superb as well. He's got an all-round game, and you know, I think Tompkins is a very good player. He's like a bull to a red flag, and he gets stuck in like. I don't think it'll be a tough decision, but Tompkins, Warren Gatland we're talking about.
Yeah, Tompkins isn't exactly a massive player, is he?
Himself? No, he's not.
So, yeah, be interesting. But you're outvoted 3-1 on that one, Carl. So Tompkins is in there. And then we've just got fullback. And then you guys went for Liam Williams and I went for Halfpenny just because of his kick. I just think having Liam Williams isn't a kicker. If Bigger's off form and doesn't, you know, and he needs to hand that over to someone, who's he going to hand it over to? Which is what Gatland's done in the past. He's always had two kickers on the field. So that's why I've gone for Halfpenny. But we're outvoted on that one, so Liam Williams, Scarlets reject, is in at fullback for that one. So then we go into subs, and this is where it gets really tasty because I couldn't actually work out how many we've agreed on in subs. So we've all pretty much agreed on Bradley Roberts as hooker. Now that Dewi Lake is injured. So, yeah. And then props, depending on who we've put in on the on for the main team, that kind of pretty much swaps with who we've got on the bench. And then we add in Leon Brown, because we all agreed on Thomas Francis and then Leon Brown to cover for him. And then if you had Gareth Thomas on the pitch, you got Leon Brown on the bench. And if you had Reece Carey or Gareth Thomas, so they kind of swap. Second row is the only place where we really differed. So Carwyn and Jamie both got Alan Wynne-Jones.
Yeah. Now, this is what I really struggled with, and I said this to you in a WhatsApp group. I wanted to put Chris Chunza in my Wales 23, because I think he's a massive talent. And I was listening to BBC's Rugby Union Daily, and they interviewed Gatland, and they said, who's the player to look out for? And he said, Chris Chunza. So that tells me that he's probably going to get a fair bit of game time in this tournament. The problem is, who do you take out for him to go in? Because, you know, Rhys Davies, I think, has been brilliant for the Ospreys, and I would have him in my starting 15. Do you do the unthinkable and leave out Alan Wynne-Jones completely? That's the issue I got. And I don't know if Gatland is ready to completely axe him, you know, completely turn him away from the start, from the match day 23 yet. I just don't know if he's willing to do that. He may be, I don't know. But that's the struggle for me at the moment, is where does he fit in? But I have got the safe option and gone for Alan Wynne-Jones.
Yeah.
Well, I think Gatland said, didn't he? He said people like Alan Wynne-Jones and Bigger and Webb are there as they won't be featuring a lot, but they'll be, you know, high impact kind of players. Is I think how we called them. You know, they you know, with Ken being a hooker, when he comes off at some point, because he will, you know, that's the nature of being a hooker. And then you're looking, right, who are your leaders and who's your captain? So let's assume Dan Bigger is still on the pitch. Okay, there's your replacement captain. But then would you want to take Ken off and bring Alan Wynne-Jones on and just go, okay, here's your leadership now, sort of thing, isn't it? So, yeah. So we're split 50-50 over that. We're split. You guys have gone Alan Wynne-Jones and me and Reese have gone Shunza. So that's a bit of a who knows what will happen on that one. And, I've got Shunza as mainly as back row cover. And then I've got Reese Davis on the bench. And you guys have got Tommy Reffel and Tipuric on the bench. So it's, we're pretty much all there or thereabouts with everything. On that, I think the only place we differ is really covering in the backs with we got Owen Williams and Mason Grady. So who's that? Carwin, if you put Teddy Williams as
Thomas Williams.
Oh, I was going to say, well, yeah. Well, you shocked me then, mate. Yeah. Okay, yeah, so we're all pretty much agreeing, and the only place we're different is I put Patchell in as my cover on the back. I put Hardy in as cover instead of Reece Webb, just because his kicking game. I would, as a Scarlet, I wouldn't be that bothered if he left. If he went to the Dragons or somewhere to try and find a spark of the form, because I don't see it with us. But when he kicks, he's pretty bloody accurate. And that's why I put him there. And again, I put Reece Patchell there because when he kicks, it just seems to fly. So then,
in fairness to Hardy, he's okay for Wales, isn't he? I know he's been off the ball for the Scarlets, but he always seems to do well in a Wales shirt. Yeah. In fairness to him.
Yeah, and I say that's why if we went to like Dragons are missing an out and out 9 to if what's his name gets injured, who's just come back from injury.
Well, we got Gonzalo out, don't we? Rodri's come back now. Yeah, well, he's better than Lewis Jones today. Yeah, so if you want to do a swap, I mean. you can have Lewis Jones and we'll have Kieran Hardy. That'd be great. Let's do that.
We got two boys. We got 2 scrum halves in the Wales 20s. So we'll be fine. We'll be fine. So that's kind of our team. What kind of a game are we expecting on Saturday?
Tight attritional one, as it always is against Ireland.
Yeah, big battle up front.
Yeah,
smashing it up.
It's not going to be the most exciting game, is it?
Don't care as long as we win.
As long as we've got a really strong defence, so we're really aggressive up in their faces, really trying to disrupt everything that they do. Same thing that an Irish game then. But we got a front up now.
We got to match them physically because Ireland are a very physical team and they got a strong pack. So we have got a front up, as you say, absolutely, to have any sort of chance.
Predictions, boys?
I hate predictions because
you always fuck them up.
yeah, pretty much. I'm like,
shall I go first?
Yeah, go on then. You go first.
Because I'm always optimistic when it comes to Wales.
How smiley he is. He's smiling away there. Why are you so happy? He's just happy.
How much
is happy.
How much of the bottle have you got left, Carwin?
It's gone. So
that's why he's smiling.
Now, Joe, because I'm going to the game, I'm really looking forward to it. First time back now in a couple of years. Wales 23, Ireland 19.
Okay. Are we going with specific score forecasts? Are we? Is that how we're going to do this?
Yeah, why not?
No, I don't want to do that.
Yeah, come on, James.
No, I don't like specific scores.
Live life dangerously, man. Go for it. Okay, Carwin 23-19. Reese, let's give Jamie a couple of seconds to kind of think about what the score's actually going to be. You make something up off the top of your head, so then off you go.
My level of game understanding. I'm going to say, I reckon it'll be close, and I reckon Ireland might pick us. So I'm going to say 17-14 Ireland. Sorry, Carwin, because you're shaking your head. 17-14, yeah.
17-14, okay. And Reese is officially on the gin and tonic now. That big bottle of beer is gone.
Yeah. I'm on holiday, boys.
Yeah. Jane, what about you, mate?
Well, we are underdogs for this game, it's fair to say. But I tell you what, I would not be surprised if we didn't. I would not. I know they're the best team in the world right now, going to the rankings. They're a very good team. But I would not be surprised. This is Cardiff, Principality Stadium. It's a full house, great occasion. We could turn them over. I could see it happening. But unfortunately, it is one of those head versus heart situations. My heart says Wales, but my head says Ireland. So I am going to go for a narrow Ireland win. I'll probably go for something like 28-25 to Ireland.
Ooh. See, for me, that's quite high scoring because
it is high scoring, isn't it? Yeah.
I'm going something like 15-12 to
okay,
Ireland.
I've changed. You're right. It is 12. I'm going to change it. I'm going to go 20-17 to Ireland.
Okay, 20-17, and I'll go 15-12. 15-12 to Ireland. Just because. So,
folks, you've heard it here first. All the teams from the European Challenge Cup supporters are going for an Ireland win. However, the Ospreys in the Champions Cup has gone for a Wales win.
See how you're the fin to
right.
It's got absolutely nothing to do with it.
Yeah.
Absolutely nothing to do with Wales Island. Ospreys win the Champions Cup. But never mind. You had to get it in, didn't you?
Yeah,
I did.
You carry on.
Completely irrelevant, but never mind.
It's coming.
All right. So to finish up tonight, then, gents. To finish up, we're going to put on our social media a fantasy rugby group, fantasy rugby league thing, and we'll try and keep track of who's playing. And I'll be fair, last year, I was in the autumn internationals. We tried doing it between the four of us, and we couldn't manage it between the four of us. So the chances of us being able to do this really, really well, if anybody else joins, is remote. But so we'll give it a go, and we'll enjoy it whichever way round we go.
Yep.
And then the second bit. So I was thinking earlier that normally BBC Wales, like they start it tonight. They usually start it after scrum 5 before the first game, but they've usually got a song. They usually got like a song that will go like through the Six Nations, yeah. And I haven't heard one this year, so my question to our listeners and to all of our social media followers is: we need to find a song that kind of sums up Welsh rugby as a whole. So with all the crap stuff, with all the shit stuff that's going on, and then still going, I think we're going to win. I think we're going to do really, really well. So we need something to sum that up. So we'll put that out on social media when we put the podcasts out, and if we can, I'll play it in the in next week's podcast, just because that sounds like something good to do. Are we done, gents? Are we got anything else?
I think so.
Yeah.
I think so. Well done, lads.
That's been a long old stretch tonight, hasn't it?
Reece, enjoy the rest of your holiday in the sun. When are you back?
Hey, cheers, lads. Back on Saturday, but be back for the game. Yeah.
Oh, happy days. You going?
Say again, sorry. No, I'm not going to watch it. Either in the pub or the house. So. Yeah, you going?
Happy days. I am. 10:30 start.
Jamie, you going to the game?
No, I'm going to go to the pub. That's where I'm going to go.
Cool. And I'll probably be watching reruns of Death in Paradise. So on that note,
for fuck's sake.
On that note, been a pleasure as always, and I shall catch up with you all once again next week. All the best, boys. Enjoy your rugby.
Nice one, lads. All the
Cheers,
best.
lads. All the best. Ta-da.
Ta-da.
See ya.
Thank you for listening to this week's show. We hope you enjoyed it enough to come back next week and listen again. So please do subscribe, rate and review the pod, as it really helps us on most of the platforms that we appear on. You can keep the conversation going on Twitter and Facebook by searching for us WRAP, WRRAP, or you can email us on welshregionalrugbypod@gmail.com. We'll be back next week to do some more of the same. We hope you'll come and enjoy us, and in the meantime, enjoy your rugby.
Social Podcast Network.
With the Lucky Land Slots, you can get lucky just about anywhere.
This is your captain speaking. We've got clear runway and the weather's fine, but we're just going to circle up here a while and get lucky. No, nothing like that. It's just these cash prizes add up quick. So I suggest you sit back, keep your tray table upright, and start getting lucky.
Play for free at LuckyLandSlots.com. Are you feeling lucky? No purchase necessary. Void where prohibited by law. 18+ terms and conditions apply. See website for details.